All right. Can you hear me now? Okay, I'm sorry. Can you hear me now? Let me know if you can hear me now. Can you hear me now? All right, so you can hear me. All right, so let me do that again. Shout out to everybody in the building. Shout out to Hitman Broncos, my guy Kentrell LeGrew, all things, Andy Gill, Ralph Chestnut in the building, Ray Patterson, what's happening? Terrell W, Joshua Joseph Robinson, Fresh Baker, Nuke the Duke, you deserve a wrench, Nuke the Duke, double double, Kalaja in the building, Phoenix the Assassin, Jose Lopez in the building, what's going on? Bird 101 and Big Block. What's happening? What's happening? Gilbert Jimenez in the building. Rich L. What's going on? Dietrich Thomas. I hope you can hear that now. What's going on, brother? How are you? Bronsha Mack in the building. What's going on? Mr. Mileage. What's happening? Big Kev 100, man. What's going on? Isaiah WYD. What's happening? Rampage in the building. What's good? Think I said what's up to Joshua Robinson. Big Ken Griffin in the building. What's up, Mr. Griffin? All right, so we're back. We're back. Rich L. Swan Work. What's up, man? The real short dog in the building said, what partnership? I'll tell you in a second. All right, shout out to everybody else. Okay, so this partnership. It says Goldenboy promotion, Oscar De La Hoya, Goldenboy plus Premier Boxing, shaking hands, ready to make history. This came out last night. So that's the partnership that I'm talking about. The partnership right there. That partnership is what I'm talking about. And you know what I think? I'm enjoying it. I certainly hope that that's what takes place. And it'll be a big it'll be a big thing in boxing if that's the case. But that's what Oscar De La Hoya says. It's right there. What's going on, UAZ Tone? Yeah, so there it is right there. What's going on, Troy Hutch? I'm gonna wait. I'm actually gonna put comments in the comment section now. So there you go. That's the partnership that I'm talking about. The partnership that Oscar De La Hoya said that he struck with the PBC, and they're ready to make history. So what does that mean? They're willing to work together. Now, you shouldn't be surprised at all that these guys are going to work together. Just like you shouldn't be surprised that Top Rank and PBC are going to work together because they don't want to go out of business. You know, all of the press coverage in the world is not going to convince these people to go out of business. And guess what? Guess what this means? This means that you can get a Rolly versus Ryan Garcia rematch. You can get a Rolly versus Ryan Garcia rematch over on Amazon. Guess what else that means? Isn't Virgil Ortiz? Virgil Ortiz is at 154, isn't he? That means Virgil Ortiz at 154 can fight Sebastian Fundora. He can fight Tim Tszyu. It opens up just a plethora of fights because because Oscar De La Hoya doesn't want to go out of business. I commend this man for that great decision. It's obviously the smart thing to do is to, deal with the people that are going to be around, especially since, what's up, Double Double? Yes, sir, let's go. Especially since Turkey Al-Sheikh is partnering with his arch enemy. Bob Arum does not like Dana White, and neither does Oscar De La Hoya. Oscar De La Hoya both hate Dana White, and Turkey Al-Sheikh is partnered with him. So trust me, they dislike they dislike Dana White much more than they dislike Al Heyman, because both Oscar De La Hoya and Bob Arum have worked with Al Heyman in the past. And that makes and Bob Arum is not, Al Heyman is not somebody that's going to be trying to hog the spotlight. He's just trying to, it looks to me as if he's just trying to make the fights. And yeah, two heads hate each other. Yeah, that's crazy. That's funny. What's going on, Gerald? So I love it. I think that's, and I'm excited because you know why? Because now Oscar De La Hoya does not own. Oh, Nuke the Duke said Clapback Thursday gonna be fired. Let's get it, Oscar. Let's get it, Oscar De La Hoya. Let's get it, Oscar De La Hoya. Let's get that Virgil Ortiz fight. And hey, Jerron, that 154-pound division is looking mighty non-DAZN-ish. That 147-pound division is looking mighty non-DAZN-ish. Mighty non-DAZN-ish. Double doubles. It's about time they send Turkey packing. Yeah, they have to consolidate their operations. Not their operation. They have to consolidate, or they have to partner on major events and be profitable. That's what these guys have to do. They just have to be profitable. My guy Isaiah said it's good for boxing 100%. That eliminates Turkey. That eliminates having Turkey's horrible matchmaking, and we can now get some real fights. Exactly. We need to see fights, Turkey, and they're not fighting for you, Turkey. They're not fighting for you, Turkey. I mean, you know what I'm saying? You can pull the trigger, but dog, it's just a blank coming out, Turkey. You trying to pull triggers, but blanks are coming out, dog. You know what I mean? Hell yeah. Pullback said Virgil Ortiz versus Keith Thurman next. Let's get it. Hold on. Yeah, that's... See, that's how you can make stuff work. Oh, the zone commentators are crazy. The real short dog said, Fanon, the only YouTube channel on sub 2 we have to make boxing great again. Thank you, brother. Appreciate that, man. There's a lot of really good YouTube channels, but not a lot of really good YouTube content creators as far as it relates to boxing, because 99% of them got bought out. And so they got bought out and they're delivering messages like, they're selling their channel. So, you know what I mean? Like they're selling their message. They've been selling their message for a while, but that's okay because it creates a nice little gap for people that feel like telling the truth. If you feel like being right over a longer period of time, just stick with the truth. You're going to wind up being right much, much, much more often than you're wrong. It doesn't mean that you're always going to be right about what your conclusions or that all of your actions are going to be successful. But for real, you're a lot better off consistently relying on the truth than consistently trying to rely on being able to pull the wool over people's eyes. Because they catch you one time, you know what I mean? Then they catch you twice, they catch you 3 times, 4 times. Ain't nobody trying to hear that shit anymore, man. But that's a big win for Gervonta, because that means that, hey, you get the William Zepeda. If, say, for example, William Zepeda somehow beats Shakur Stevenson, that opens up a William Zepeda fight with Gervonta at 135, because William Zepeda is a Goldenboy fighter. Also, do you know what that opens up? It opens up Floyd Schofield's Jr. Floyd Schofield coming up. You know what I mean? Facts, Fanon, only one keeping it really loyalty before royalty. Yes, absolutely. Loyalty before royalty, for sure. Well, hey, yeah, 2 Cent Boxing said my integrity still intact. Sub to the channel, absolutely, for sure. The Queen, my boxing wife, 2 Cent Boxing is absolutely somebody you can trust for a straightforward, honest opinion from where she sees it, and not bought and paid for. Ken Moment says, give Turkey his credit. He's the reason that these promoters are working together more now. Before it was bad for fans. Oh, sure, I'll give him a credit for it. He's such a jackass that he's going to absolutely tear boxing apart and drive everybody out of business and ruin the sport. So in order to survive his gigantic, unprecedented, otherworldly level of dickheadedness, they had to come together. You're right. That's his credit. He is such a monumental failure, and his structure is so monumentally bad, and his purpose is so obvious and nefarious that, that he caused these people to realize that they have to act like they got some sense and stop blackballing the PBC. Because guess what? All of them were going to get blackballed. They blackballed the PBC. Yeah, they did. Goldenboy didn't want to work with them. Top Rank didn't want to work with them. These guys didn't want to work with the PBC. So, yeah, they started dealing with Turki Al-Sheikh, and Turki Al-Sheikh screwed over, for sure screwed over Bob Arum by having his best heavyweight being thrown in the trash can. And then Turki Al-Sheikh tried to screw over Oscar De La Hoya. Yeah, he did. I forget which situation it was where he tried to screw over Oscar De La Hoya. Oh, yes, trying to work with Turki Al-Sheikh and say he was going to put Bob Arum out of business. You are 100% right. All of that was caused by Turki Al-Sheikh. So can I get a round of applause for Turki Al-Sheikh? That's his credit. You want some more credit? I'll give him some more credit. How about I credit him to putting on the worst fight card I've ever seen in my life? That man lost like $200 million, over $200 million. Blew Cinco de Mayo, ruined Cinco de Mayo boxing for Mexicans that would usually be in Las Vegas. All those guys got to do was get to see a fight with Monster Inoue. Yeah, wonderful. But guess what? That fight was on a Sunday. If they wanted to stay in Vegas on Sunday. Oh, I got you. I get you, Kamal. That's next. This on this one. I got you, brother. Got you. Got you. Thank you. Much love, brother. Thank you so much for the support. Haney, Jamal Charlo, and Teddy Atlas saying Alvarez gets a pass from corporate media. I got you, bro. Got you. Ralph Chestnut said, Fanon, Turkey's blunders are continuous him a lot of money. I told you, I totally agree. Yeah. So anyway, did I give for the person? I hope you didn't get blocked, but I hope to the person that wanted me to give Turki Al-Sheikh credit, that's the credit I'm going to give him. I'm sorry, bro. I didn't really ask for a lot of these fights that you saying I asked for. Like, for real. I mean, if you could give me a list of the fights that you say I asked for from Turki Al-Sheikh, I would love to know it. Here's a link. Anybody, and I'm asking a Turki Al-Sheikh fan. There you go. There you go. There's a link. Please come up here and give Jabbar want to say you did the video about Dana not liking stadiums. Yeah, I did mention it in there. I did mention it. Yes, I did. Bird 101. Thank you very much. But seriously, there's anybody that would like to tell me the fights that Turki Al-Sheikh put on that I was asking for. I'll be very, very honest. I know of one that I asked for. One. No, let me take that back. I know of two fights that I really asked for. Two. He gave me two fights I asked for. Two. So if y'all can tell me of the two, and I'll tell you the two. The Tyson Fury versus Alexander Usyk fight and the Arthur Beterbiev versus Dimitri Bivol. Those are the two fights that I asked for. Yeah, Bivol and Beterbiev and Tyson Fury and Alexander Usyk. I asked for those fights. Those are the only fights that I know of that I got that I asked for. I can tell you a bunch of fights that I asked for that I didn't get. I wanted Deontay Wilder and Anthony Joshua. I didn't get that. I didn't get that. I want Terrence Crawford versus Jermell Charlo. I didn't get that. I want Terrence Crawford versus Jaron Ennis. I didn't get that. I want Gervonta Davis versus Shakur Stevenson. I haven't gotten that. I want Gervonta Davis versus Teofimo Lopez. I haven't gotten that. I want to see Teofimo Lopez versus Gary Antoine Russell. I have not gotten that. I want to see Devin Haney versus Gary Antoine Russell. I've not gotten that. I can go on and on and on in fights that Turki Al-Sheikh has not made. Okay? While you want to talk about the fights he has made, I can go on and on and on for days that fights that I want to see that he has not made. Okay? He did not make Devin Haney versus Sabril Matias. He didn't get that made. He hasn't made Shakur Stevenson versus Devin Haney. I don't know if I want that or not, but he hasn't done that one either. Okay? I can go on and on and on. He has not done Jaron Ennis versus Virgil Ortiz. That has not taken place. Hasn't taken place. I saw that he made a fight between Jaron Ennis and Amanda Stanionis, but guess who they needed to work with to get that fight made? That's Al Heyman. So Al Heyman made that. So Al Heyman allowed that to happen. So, nah, I'm not buying it, bro. You know what I'm saying? I'm not buying it. I can name a whole lot of fights he hasn't made, and I can only name really 2 fights that he has made that I really wanted to see, bro. You know? What up, Kamal?
Hey, what's up, Fanon? I didn't know that you had talked about that Dana White situation. I know it was a subject of the live stream yesterday, but I didn't see
it. Yeah, it's in the video.
On
yeah, it's in a video. I'll do it again, though. I can cover it more distinctly. I don't mind.
Because that's a major issue. I mean, Turk is going to utilize Dana White going forward with TKO. The fact that he's saying, hey, this fight that corporate media is trying to sell and Turkey is trying to sell is this best ever fight matchup. He's saying he hates aspects of the fight. So that's something you could really blow up. Not kind of mention in passing, I don't know. Just a thought for you.
Oh, I mean, I went into it for a minute, but I'll go into it again. Trust me, I got it.
Okay, perfect.
I absolutely got it.
Perfect. Yeah. And then I don't know if you've watched that Teddy Atlas interview.
I'm gonna watch that today. I have not watched it yet. I'm gonna watch it when we get done.
Good, great. It's only like 20 minutes, but he just goes in on corporate media, giving Canelo passes for ducking, him being overrated, him avoiding certain fighting styles. I mean, he goes in. Teddy, ESPN, basically, people don't really talk about this. They shadow banned Teddy Atlas after he went in on Bum Lufkin for cherry picking and Canelo for ducking. I don't know if you remember that.
I definitely remember that.
He was still employed by ESPN, and they pulled him off the air. So, like him or hate him, and he does say some goofy stuff like Lomachenko being #1 pound for pound that I disagree with. But wait a second. I'm not going to agree with everything that everybody says. The fact is, Teddy's his own man. He doesn't toe the corporate media line. That's why I thought that was a great idea. As far as what Turkey's made, and the guy
that gives him a platform to do it deserves a lot of credit too. Just so you know, there's a guy that runs that show. I think he deserves a lot of credit too for giving Teddy Atlas that platform. My understanding is he's a very, very wealthy guy, and they have it's really good channel too. We go ahead, man.
Yeah, we need to give him credit because Teddy could sell out like corporate media does and bootlick Canelo like they always do and say, hey, what has Andrade done to deserve a fight with Canelo when Canelo said he wanted to be undisputed at 160? And then as soon as he just had one more title to go, he ducked Andrade and then told Bum Lufkin to fight him. And Bum Lufkin said, I don't want to fight Jermall Charlo or Andrade. They should fight each other. And so Teddy's going to keep it real on that. And so anytime somebody doesn't sell out for corporate media, when they have ample opportunity to, as well as to enhance their bank account, I got to salute them. So, I may not agree with everything that Teddy says, but he's a man of principle. As far as what Turkey's given us that we wanted, I would say Beterbiev and Bivol 1 and 2. So I give him credit for 2 of those fights. And I did end up paying for one of them. I paid for the first one. He gave us Stanionis, with PBC's help, of course, Stanionis versus Boots. And the other Boots' fights, pretty much, initially they weren't with Turkey when he was first with Eddie Hearn, and then now it's mandatory. Giasov is going to come next. Other fights that I can give him credit for. I wanted to see Daniel Dubois and Anthony Joshua, and we got Daniel Dubois and Anthony Joshua.
That's a fair one.
Yeah, that's one I really had wanted to see because people write off fighters way too much. People say they want the best fighting the best, but then when the fighter loses, they crucify him. Go ahead. Sorry. You're on mute, Fanon.
Only thing I would say about that fight is I don't think, in that fight being the Usyk Danny Dubois fight, is I don't think that that's a fight that was ever going to be difficult to be made. You know what I mean? I just don't think that that's something like Dubois. The fight with Beterbiev and Bivol, there was some shit standing in between that fight, and also having forcing Tyson Fury to fight Usyk. I think there was something really behind that fight not taking place too, which is overcoming Tyson Fury's desire to fight and not lack of desire to fight him. I wouldn't necessarily say Usyk and Danny Dubois was something like that, but I do get your point. That was a great fight, and I'm glad it happened for sure.
Okay, we're getting the part 2. Yeah, so I give him credit for the first one. Now getting the second one, because certainly I'm being one of them. I thought that if the ref had done things correctly in the first fight, that was a knockout win for Dubois. So Dubois AJ was something I'm going to give him credit for. I'm giving him credit for Monster Inouye versus MJ Akhmadiliev. Inouye came over here, beat
but was that Turkey? That wasn't Turkey.
Yeah, it was Turkey because Inouye signed with Riyadh season.
Hold on, but that fight wasn't the fight in Vegas was. I don't think that was promoted as a Riyadh season card. I don't think so.
I think it was a joint. Well, I'm not giving him credit for the one in Vegas. I'm giving him credit for getting the
the one coming up.
The one coming up because that's in September. Because Inouye came in the ring with his next fight already signed.
Okay, that's fair. I'll give that. That's cool. If you want to count that one, that's cool. What's up, Phoenix?
Oh, Kamal, I gotta disagree with you. It's good, y'all. Y'all doing good?
I'm doing real well. How are you?
That's what's up. Doing pretty well this morning. Another day. Yeah, man. Dubois and Usyk. Now, I agree. Like, I don't think there's anything standing in the way of that. I mean, they already fought, so Usyk probably going to want to feel like, okay, I got to play.
I'm sorry. Hey, hold on. I'm sorry, brother. Come on, you jumped off, bro. I didn't mean for you. I didn't mean to cut you off. If you had to go, that's my bad. But I didn't mean to cut you off. And by the way,
I wanted to talk to Kamal too.
Yeah, that's what I did. Hey, Daryl Young said I threw you out, Daryl Young. Just so you know, I threw your ass out because you said that I've never liked anything that Turki Al-Sheikh has done. That's not true. I didn't have a problem with Turki Al-Sheikh putting on fights until somebody tried to start forcing that shit down people's throats, talking about how Gervonta needed to go sign with him and all that bullshit. Nah, bro, I wasn't always anti-Turkey. I'm not anti-Turkey now. If Turkey wanted to work well with other people and wasn't a prick, then hey, man, I'd be like, cool, but he's a prick. Don't blame me. Go ahead, bro. Okay, Kamal said it. His phone cut off. All right, go ahead, Phoenix. What's on your mind, Phoenix?
Well, not a whole lot. Yeah, I was gonna say, man, like people ain't really being honest about Turkey. They say he keep on putting on all these great fights, and it's like, where? Because I didn't ask for no Fury versus Ngannou, and they acting like that ain't never happened before. Didn't Floyd fight Conor McGregor, and they did a whole lot better? And then on top of that, Floyd did that when he wasn't holding any belts. That's the biggest issue with the Tyson Fury and the Ngannou situation is that Tyson Fury is holding them belts, and they was trying to get Usyk to fight him to go ahead and have an undisputed champion heavyweight, and held that up so Ngannou could come in. Like, what in the world is that? So that's why when people want to criticize Floyd for these exhibitions and stuff, that's why I never really had no problem with it, because it's not like he keeping a belt hostage and then other people got to wait for some sideshow to take place before a championship fight can happen. So that was some bullshit. He should just go ahead and done the Usyk fight first and then done Ngannou after that or something. And then, Beterbiev and Bivol, everybody wanted that. But you know how the whole thing was with whatever was going on with Russia and stuff, and they couldn't get that fight to happen. So
Ukraine, yeah,
eventually it did.
Russia invaded Ukraine.
Yeah, yeah. So because of that, you know how the sanctioning bodies, kind of behaved about that situation. Then eventually it got worked out so that could go ahead and happen. But apart from those two fights, people are acting like all the other fights that Turkey don't put on, wouldn't have happened. I mean, like shit, those are fights that the promoters would have done anyway. It's not like he did anything special, and I'm still waiting to find out. Like, well, you think people was happy for this fight these last weekend, or even on the fight card of the century? Like, nah. Like, that's the problem. Like, I keep telling people, like, yo, just because you got big names on the card, don't mean that the card is some grand, spectacular event. I mean, shoot, how many people talking about Madrimov and Bud right now? That was supposed to be one people wanted to see, right? I mean, Turkey's giving us these great fights, ain't he? Wasn't that one? I mean, shit, they had Eminem that was giving away cards like Oprah. Come on now, wasn't that great? I mean, shit. Man. But nah, people need to start really being real about what Turkey is doing. He ain't doing. It's like they've been bedazzled and shit. You know what I mean? Like they putting like extra emphasis on this stuff just because of this perception that Turkey is some type of royalty and special thing that we never seen in boxing before, and because of how they've been stylizing their events and all this shit that they're doing, they think it's something extra special when it's really not. If you're being real about it, like I don't get it. I really don't get it because these are fights that, I mean, like I said, apart from Bivol and Better BF, and then Usyk and Fury, what other cards are there that just have people like, oh my gosh, we never thought this was going to happen, and here it finally is, and we're all happy and we're excited, and the cards all flop. People weren't out there, in droves trying to get tickets or seating. People weren't out there, trying to get pay-per-view. You weren't having to worry about the pay-per-view streams crashing and everything because so many people was trying to watch the fight at once. Like what happened with Mayweather and Pacquiao, Mayweather with McGregor. They didn't have to worry about none of that. But supposedly these fights is getting billions upon billions of interactions. These fights are like unlike anything anybody's ever seen before. It's just blowing people's minds.
Impressions may not even like, I don't know if it's an interaction or not. It's an impression. Go ahead.
Yeah. So it's like, man, like I'm just saying, people, be real. Y'all ain't gotta, go ahead and hype this up more than what it is just because it's some guy that's, perceived to be some type of excellency or something like that. It ain't that deep.
Oh, sir, watch this. In social media, an impression refers to the total number of times a piece of content, post, ad, etc., appears on a user's screen, regardless of whether they interact with it. It is a measure of how many times your content is potentially visible to users. So they said they have 2 billion potential.
Man.
They have 20 billion potential interactions. They talked about their potential interactions. That is fucking bananas.
I know.
That's not even a view. It's not a view. It's not an interaction. It's a potential interaction. It's just basically counting the number of people that could have possibly interacted with it. I can't even imagine like how fucking ridiculous that shit sounds. Like
very.
It's not even a view. You didn't even talk about the number of people that viewed. You just talk about their impressions. Hey, real quick, Big Dog Willie said Tank versus Jake Paul, November 22nd, 2025. Undercard midget wrestling. Layla Ali coming out of retirement to fight Clarissa Shields. Logan Paul fighting Spence Jr. Vanilla Ice is performing the national anthem. I'll take that whole goddamn thing.
Yeah. I see he mad because I be hating on Shakur.
Hell yeah, y'all would hate on him. That'd be a fire ass card.
I see. Okay. Let me talk about Shakur then. What's going on with Shakur and O'Shaquie Foster?
Oh, I know. I know, because I saw the whole thing.
Oh man.
I made sure I
Hey,
watched Shacky
hey,
going in, dog.
hey, hey, he said dude got full blown junkie behavior. I was like, damn. So he was out there puffing that nitrous oxide.
Man,
Hey, Shakur, he said, Shakur, what you talking about, man? I passed you the blunt like 3 times, man. Now this how you do me? This how you do me? You messed up the rotation. You was ungrateful, and now you want to air it out, man. Hey, if that don't sound Haney-ish, I don't know what is. Because you know how the Haneys are putting out people's personal information, like wanting
let
to
me tell
post
you
Tank's
something, bro.
mugshot and shit.
Let me tell you something. Let me tell you something, bro. For real, for real, for real. All you niggas that be out there lying about you never drink, you never smoke, all that shit. Nigga, your lips tell the story. Okay? Your lips tell me you smoking, bro. You don't have to tell me you smoking. Your black ass lips tell me that you smoking, bro. Okay? Them black ass lips tell me you smoking, bro.
Out
All
there
right.
looking like some brats on the grill and shit.
Hell yeah, these niggas out here vaping or something. Get the fuck up out of here, nigga. I know
Man.
what you niggas is on. Lips blacked them up. Lips look like a tire on some of these niggas. Go ahead.
So Shaq, a pothead. I'm like, man. And the thing is, Shakur ain't even had to be in there because the whole thing was between O'Shaquie and Raymond Ford. It was between O'Shaquie and Raymond Ford, and Shakur done threw himself up in the middle of the mix and shit. And see this the reason. See, like I said, that one saying: if you run into an asshole in the morning, you ran into an asshole. But if you run into assholes all day, you the asshole. How many assholes Shakur been running into lately? Like this dude out here got beef with everyone and ain't doing nothing. And what O'Shaquie is saying lines up with what Tank was saying about how Shakur be capping and fake about stuff. Because on that interview, Shakur said his whole beef with Tank went back to his ninth fight. Shakur's ninth fight is when his beef with Tank started, which was like 4 years before Tank fought Rolly, and Shakur in the locker room smiling with Tank, taking pictures. How they smiling, taking pictures together? Why you in his locker room like that if y'all have had beef for 3 or 4 years? That's what Shakur said out his own mouth in that Danza Project interview. That after his ninth win, he was on Bud's undercard. It was his ninth fight, and he was saying that Tank had came at him on Twitter saying something. And I seen the post because Shakur was out there hype about getting that first round stoppage, but it was against no, you know how it is when fighters, doing like their first 10, 15 fights, and it's against people that, ain't really worth mentioning unless there's a rare exception like Lomachenko fighting Salido in his second fight. And this guy, Shakur, was out there, hype off his knockout. And Tank came in like, man, that guy wasn't really nothing. So, don't start talking like you a killer because you killed someone that was supposed to be killed, basically. You know what I mean? And Shakur said he got all in his feelings about that because Tank had called the dude like a cab driver and all that and was talking about, yeah, Top Rank needed to get you something you could stop because people is questioning your punching power. So Shakur said that beef, that's when his beef with Tank started. But like I said, if that was 4 years ago, why you want to get in dude's locker room and smile and take a picture with him? We seen that at the Rolly fight. So that's the thing, like flip-flopping back and forth. Same thing with O'Shaquie Foster. He's like, man, I got some elite level work and sparring with O'Shaquie Foster. And then now he's talking about, man, you don't fight, O'Shaquie Foster don't fight nothing but bums. He not on my level. If you want to fight me, then he got to show he can beat Keyshawn first because Keyshawn not on my level either. And him showing he better than Keyshawn, he might be able to fight me. Like, man, come on, Shakur. It's like that's the thing, flip flopping back and forth on people like that. That's why people be out there saying he capping and he fake. He out there starting fake beef with people he cool with or was cool with at one point, and then now talking like the whole world against him and shit. That if that ain't like the most Devin Haney type shit that I've never seen, except from Bill and Devin, like, come on now. Come on. That's why people be mad at him. And he just gotta start being consistent instead of flip flopping on people like that. Maybe he wouldn't have so many enemies.
Wow, you're a hater.
I agree 100% with what Phoenix said. He's 100% right. Shakur and Haney have a lot in common They've got grandiose visions of what they are economically, which don't correspond to reality. They both are trying to use a public pressure campaign to induce Gervonta Tank Davis to fight them and demanding more than they're worth. Shakur's even so delusional that he said a couple years ago, you can look it up on Boxing Scene. He said, "Me and Tank does 4.5 million pay-per-view buys." Shakur
No,
Stevenson said that. He's
no.
so delusional that when after Ryan fought Tank and moved up, he was calling out Ryan, and Ryan was saying, "Yeah, I'll fight you at 140." This was like 6 months ago or so, and he's like, "Nah, you fought Tank at 136. You could come down to a catch weight for me." Like he's the A side to Ryan Garcia, and he can
Hey,
dictate terms to Ryan Garcia.
I'm so sorry. Are y'all good for 10 minutes? You got time? Come on.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right. I'm gonna let y'all just have a good ass time, man. Go ahead, man.
All right. Well, for him saying the only one following, hey, if I'm the only one following, how come hella people don't like his ass for it? I, I didn't know
What?
that I could split my. Hey, I must be moving across the multiverse or some shit. I got superpowers. I can split myself into a few 100,000 people, and yeah, we all ganged up together. It's all my doppelgangers, all my clones and shit. We all hating on Shakur. Come on, man.
Fahim, I know you. I like you, bro, but on the Shakur thing, you're off. He brings it all on himself. He does. He's talking about going to war with people, and then he puts on his track shoes like he's a member of the Kenyan or Ethiopian
Relay race.
relay racing team. Not even the relay race.
Oh,
It's
the
like
marathons.
the
The
marathons.
marathons. The 10-mile marathons. They got some random Ethiopian or Kenyan coming in first place 3 hours before everybody else.
Yeah, yeah. So
Hey, I got a question for you, Kamal. I got a
yeah,
question for you. You ever
sure.
seen that one picture with the dude riding a bike and then he put a stick in the front tire and fall over
Yeah,
and want to blame somebody else for it?
yeah.
That's Shakur right there.
It is. It is. You're 100% right. Again, what I've always said about Shakur and Devin, over promising and under delivering. Even when Caleb Plant, before he really sat down on his punches, he wouldn't go in there saying, "I'm going to stop this person. I'm going to do that." Yeah, he'd do some trash talking, but not over promising. And people didn't hold it against him that he didn't get a stoppage because he wasn't promising something that he wasn't delivering. He didn't fight an African police officer from Namibia, Jeremiah Nakathelia, and before the fight, he's like, "Oh, they got me fighting a cop? You know I ain't gonna lose to no cop. I'm gonna show up and beat him good and beat him up." And then you run like you're in Cool Runnings. You know the Jamaican bobsled team, Fanon? You have to
Yeah,
run with
man.
he put on a bobsledding, a Cool Runnings performance against a Namibian police officer. But again, if he hadn't promised an exciting fight and to dominate him and to beat him up, there wouldn't be the blowback with the Nakathelia performance. So again, it's all self initiated damage that he's doing to himself.
Yep. Because the thing with Floyd is Floyd got what 27 knockouts in his 50 fights. And Floyd always came in and said, "I'm gonna make him miss, I'm gonna make him pay. I'm gonna punish him." And he did. Because you see the way people's faces be lumped up after they fought Floyd. And you see some of their faces even be bloody and stuff. We'll talk about how that's the thing, because Floyd got the accuracy, it's gonna be happening. And Shakur, he ain't gotta do all what he doing. I mean, look at Andre Ward. Andre Ward could fight any type of fight. And nobody ever went into an Andre Ward fight expecting him to get a knockout. He did get him. But at the same time, it's like, he never marketed himself as some type of knockout artist. We always knew that he was going to be a technician, go in there and do what he had to do. And, I think it was awesome seeing him put that performance on against Kovalev and stop him in that second fight to really, go. That was like his Castillo fight, like Floyd and Castillo.
Yep.
Kovalev was Andre Ward's Castillo. And then he went in there in the second fight and showed it. Went ahead and stopped him. So it's things like that for me, where we got guys like Bo, Floyd, Andre Ward, and everybody want to keep on comparing Shakur Stevenson to them, but it's like, nah, Shakur is his own dude. And the thing that really separates Floyd and Andre Ward from other fighters, even Bud, it separates them from Bud too. There's few fighters who actually are able to make adjustments where you can actually see like, oh, their opponent is doing one thing and they take that thing away from their opponent. Like Floyd will put himself in the corner on purpose to see what you're gonna do, and he'll do something, and he'll get out the corner, but then he'll circle back to that corner again. I know if you've seen this fight, you've seen it. He'll go back to that same corner 3 or 4 times after getting up out of it, and you'll see that like 3 or 4 times in a row, he's back in that same corner to see what you're gonna do and find a way around it. So when it's something like that, and you see him in the fight making adjustments, you don't see that from so many other people. Like you see it from Bernard Hopkins, you've seen it from people like Andre Ward, you see it from people like Sugar Ray Leonard, Muhammad Ali, but there's a lot of fighters where they just got this defensive style and they don't really got that adjustment in them. Even coming forwards, you see coming forwards, they can't do it. They can't do it because they can't walk people down and cut off the ring. But we've seen
Exactly.
Floyd do that to multiple people. We've seen Andre Ward come forward, do that to multiple people. So whenever you got guys that's been overly defensive because they fighting these guys are slower than them and can't cut off the ring, like what we saw with Devin Haney a couple weeks ago, what's going to happen when they got somebody who can cut off the ring or somebody who got faster hands than them? And they got to be the one to come forward because they keep getting hit and they got to score. They stuck, and we see that happen. I mean, it's mind-boggling to me that people don't notice this.
It is. It is. And again, I've always said these people that are comparing Devin and Shakur to Floyd are the same people that say all black people look the same. They fight,
Yep,
those three fight nothing alike. Floyd has a much higher ring IQ. He fought much better competition from a very young age. I mean, Shakur has fought really no one of note to me.
Oscar
And then
Valdez, but then again, Oscar
he was a
Valdez
top ranked
tested
hype
dirty.
job. Dirty fighter, top ranked hype job. You know, I was never impressed with Oscar Valdez. I mean, so I guess you could say Oscar Valdez. Okay, we'll say that. This is the Peta coming up. But Floyd was fighting, like you said, Corrales, Castillo. He was fighting Emmanuel Augustus. He was fighting a bunch of dudes early on. And see, people forget with Floyd, especially guys like Haney and Shakur, they want to go to the Money May Floyd stage and get paid handsomely, but they don't want to go through the Pretty Boy Floyd stage where
Exactly,
Floyd not only just monetarily, where he was getting a lot of money, but Floyd in that Pretty Boy Floyd stage, he was fighting killers. Shakur, I don't know if you noticed this, bro, but if it comes to fighting these like UK domestic level fighters with no pop, like a Padley, or if it comes like fighting Yoshino from Japan, guy never fought outside of Japan, he's okay. He doesn't say anything. He just takes the fight easily. But when it comes to guys who have pop, like Tito Mercado, Scooby, and then that Cuban dude, all three who volunteered and said I could step in and instead of Floyd Schofield, and he had a million excuses talking about their young pups. Why are you trying to do this to me? Have you noticed that with Shakur? Like anytime somebody has pop, he's got a million excuses why I don't want to fight him, but he's okay with fighting these kind of domestic European, Japanese level fighters who have
oh,
nothing to offer him.
I noticed. That's why I would bet money that's why Eddie Hearn said after they had Padley as the replacement, that they have to look through a bunch of guys and they have to also make sure that it's an opponent that Shakur was happy with too. That was the other thing he said. He said he had to make sure the guys were available, they could fight and all that. But he said Shakur had to be happy with it. So I mean, that being said, it's like, well, look at his last 2 fights. I even thought the Joe Cordina fight was a fight that they was going to use to try to say, hey, it's the perfect opportunity for Shakur to go ahead and come forward. Because the dude got, what, a 20% knockout rate, 22% knockout rate?
Yes.
And he was coming up to 135 after getting knocked out at 130 by a guy that had like what was that, a 15% knockout rate or something? So he's moving up in weight after getting knocked out by a guy with a low ass knockout rate and had to fight Shakur. And see, that's the funny thing with the double standards. People be talking about, well, Tank is
Hey,
bringing people
you
up.
see me? You see me? At
Yo,
a natural break. Let me know your natural break because I got to get some super chats. But let me know when there's
so yeah, go ahead.
Okay, first of all, let me get the cash ass before I get Big Dog Willie's, which is on the screen. My guy Byron yesterday with a $20 holler yesterday, bro. Thank you so much for that $20 holler yesterday. Just said just for for power, man. He just said for the family, man. That's what he said. That's what's up. And my guy Los said PBC for the win with the $10 holler, brother. Thank you so much for the $10 holler. My guy Los in the building. And then Big Dog Willie said, ladies and gentlemen, these two men are the greatest Shakur haters on YouTube. Phoenix Assassin's highly skilled, well-trained hating is amazing. And the professor hater, Kamal Oz, with educated hating. Yeah, man, y'all out here hating. They'll go ahead. Thank you, Big Dog Willie. Appreciate you, man.
It's what Oscar says. You can't hate if it's the facts.
Amen and amen. The great Oscar De La Coca with that one.
Hey, don't talk bad about. Hey, don't talk bad about Oscar. Oscar's straightening up he straightening up in his life. He's straightening up his life.
No,
for sure.
I was a big fan
I
of
use
Oscar.
that as a joke. I use that as a joke.
I know Oscar. Hey, I'm team
Oscar's
Oscar
on point.
right now. I'm team
Oscar's on
Oscar
point.
right
I love his clapback Thursdays.
Growing up. He was my favorite fighter growing up. But I mean, I just like that quote that he says, "Not hating if it's facts," and it is facts. Everything that Phoenix and I are saying is facts. And he brought up people like another one, Bernard Hopkins, Haney, Shakur. Don't even compare to Bernard Hopkins. And Bernard Hopkins was not over promising and under delivering. Again, and Bernard Hopkins
we knew he was the
fucking
executioner.
risks. Go ahead, yeah.
Oh yeah, you remember what was his fight? It was against Caro Marat, and that was when Hopkins was, I think, 45 or 46. Caro Marat was 31 at the time, right? That fight was like, man, B Hop is still on another level with his IQ, because he was like, I forget what round it was. He went to dude's corner, back to the corner, dodging punches and counter punching dude, smacking him in the face while talking shit to dude's corner at the same time. Like he'd be blocking punches and look at the corner and see, like, this all your guy got? And like was still counter punching him and fighting him and stayed there for like 2 minutes. Like B Hop was doing that. Shakur and Devin, I don't see that from them. I don't see that from them.
And B Hop wasn't saying to, like, he was taking on all challengers. So he wasn't saying, oh, this guy's a puncher, I don't want to fight him. Because I remember everybody said Tavoris Cloud. I don't know if you remember B Hop versus Tavoris Cloud.
Hell yeah, Tavoris Cloud.
They were saying he was going to knock out and retire B Hop.
That was Don King's fighter, Tavoris Cloud.
Oh, Tavoris was Don King, but Don King.
Yeah,
everybody was
fighter.
He was looking good. He was knocking folks out, knocking heads off, and everybody was like, "Oh, B Hop's going to get knocked out by Tavoris Cloud. Tavoris Cloud's going to retire B Hop." What happened with that fight?
Oh, Bernard Hopkins beat his ass,
and that was the fight before the one I was talking about just now.
Yep.
That was after his fights with I think it was Chad Dawson.
Yep, after Chad Dawson, where he totally dog walked Chad Dawson. And again, Bernard, IQ on another level, doesn't get the love and respect that he deserves, because a lot of people don't necessarily like him as a promoter or working with Oscar, but you got to be able to separate the two. And to me, you know, you can't even compare these guys. B-Hop was fighting guys like Floyd was fighting guys, like Ward fought guys. I mean, Shakur and Devin have every excuse. I mean, look at Devin, dropped his belt rather than fighting a mandatory. But all these Haniac channels, anytime Loma got franchised, they would hammer those guys, hammer Loma, saying he's ducking. All these people are ducking. And if Vinny ducks when it comes to Devin Haney, well, when your guy actually does duck and it's officially confirmed, cannot be denied, irrefutable proof your guy's a duck. Oh, well, you got to understand, Eddie Hearn screwed over Devin, see, because Eddie Hearn didn't bid real high on it, you know, so it's not a duck. It's the same kind of rationale they want to say when Floyd lost to Manny. You know, if you watch the fight upside down, you know, Manny really did beat Floyd. You know, if you watch the Devin Haney, Sandor Martin purse bid upside down, you can really see that the Grand Jehovah of the Grand Master, see, Devin didn't duck. See, Sandor Martin really ducked because, you know, it's just stupid logic that these guys go through.
But Devin, not only did Devin drop his belt and avoid fighting his mandatory, he did it twice in 1 year.
Yep.
In 2 different weight classes. Like, come on. He refused to fight Shakur. I had never seen a fighter run out the ring so quickly after winning the fight than Devin did whenever Shakur came up there to call him out. He tucked tail and ran. I wanted to do that bullshit talking about Shakur was ducking it. Nah. And then dropping it because of, you know, the Sandor Martin. It's humbling. Them purse bids will humble somebody who think that, you know, they really that one. Because think about it. How many times you ever heard of Manny Pacquiao or Floyd having to go to a purse bid? When have you ever heard
Never,
of any fighter who's selling have to go to a purse bid? That's how you know.
never, never.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Exactly. And so that's why these guys are nothing like how people are trying to compare them to. So these people that say Shakur and Devin are like Floyd or any of these other all-time greats, I view them the same as racist people who say one black person looks the same as the other. They're
Yep.
stupid. They defy logic. And you've got a million excuses when it comes to fighting people who either have pop or people who think it's going to be a good fight, but it may not be easy. But then when they line up these kind of guys, like I said before, you and I both said Ramirez was like a walker from The Walking Dead. He hadn't looked good for 3 years, and I never rated the guy to begin with. Never known as having overwhelming power. And so I said Devin's going to beat him easily. It's going to be a dull fight. What happened? Even Shane Mosley, who was selling wolf tickets before the fight, oh, Devin's out for blood. Devin's gonna stop Ramirez. Oh, 6 round stoppage. He was on Mill City just talking nonsense. Even Shane Mosley came back after the fight and said, "Yeah, he's listening to his dad. He's not doing what I wanted to do." He had the opening in front of him to really style on Ramirez, and he just put in a snooze fest. So all of what it will be revealed will come in time, and time reveals all. And that's what we're seeing with Devin and Shakur. Meanwhile, Tank, people hate Tank's resume. Rolly Romero just picked up another title. He's gotten 2 titles since fighting Tank. Okay.
Yep.
Pitbull Cruz, late replacement, power, exciting style. He has a title. He's in high demand. Ryan Garcia is in high demand. Nobody's trying to fight these guys, Shakur and Devin's leftovers, with
But
the
wait,
exception of
wait.
Lomachenko.
But wait.
And
There's one. Josh Padley just got a knockout though with a full training camp.
who is he going up against? Construction manager? Something like that.
I don't know, but he got a knockout.
So miss me with all this because Tank's resume is like fine Italian wine and it's aging really well. Didn't Abduliev, who Haniacs were hyping up, did he just get beaten by Moratala over the weekend?
I believe so.
Yeah.
I
So
believe
that
so.
that was Abduliev. They were putting their feather in his cap. Haniacs
Wasn't
were.
that wasn't that the one that Devin had to run halfway across the ring to knock out?
Yeah. Exactly that.
It
Exactly
looked like he
that.
was doing one of them finishers from Def Jam Vendetta. Like coming up here, threw his whole body up into it. Now, I say this before I hop off. And all these fighters be talking about they out for blood, but man, they really out for red Kool-Aid. Because they man, the way that they be fighting is just too soft for the way that they be talking and tweeting. So I'll leave y'all with that.
You're
All right,
100%
bro.
100% right. I'll leave you with this too, Phoenix. I agree with everything that Phoenix was saying. Um, Shakira Twitterson, he seemed to embrace that nickname. Then he got angry. People were using it. These guys tweeted less, talk less. Haney recently saying, just because Jamal Charlo said to Rolly, he said, go fight Devin. That's a big money fight. So he's actually giving Devin more credit than he deserves. To Rolly, he said that to Rolly Romero. And Devin says, oh, don't be like kids, don't be like Jamal. He spent all of his money on drugs. Kids be like Devin Haney. Okay, and then
Who
it's
said
just
that?
tacky. Devin Haney. Devin Haney said that about Jamal Charlo because Jamal was talking to Rolly after the fight with Ryan, and he said, "Hey, a big money fight for you, the good opportunity." He was asked about that. He's like, "Hey, fight Haney. He's available." And then Haney didn't like that he said that, and he just started talking shit. So again, these guys are ultra sensitive about people talking about them, but they bring it all on themselves. Ultimately, you
Without a doubt.
can't. There's a difference between skill in the ring, or perceived skill, I should say, in the ring, and market value. Those are two separate things. Al Heyman and PBC, like any good business, are not in the welfare business. They're not doing Social Security. They're not doing Medicare and Medicaid. Errol Spence did his own thing when he fought Crawford and put himself at huge disadvantages. You cannot expect, a reasonable person cannot expect anyone to do that again, especially someone who is actually a bigger draw and bigger name than Errol Spence. And I salute Errol Spence. I'm a huge Errol Spence fan. But I was saying from the moment that Terrence Crawford was playing games with him, I could see that he should have moved up and just said, hey, look, this guy doesn't want to fight. It is what it is. But you're not going to expect, after all the shenanigans that were done against Errol Spence, the slander and the libel that was communicated against Errol Spence, you're not going to expect Tank, who's the bigger draw, who has the culture behind him, who's a cultural icon, if I stick to say the least, to do kind of the same things. And you're not going to expect PBC and Al Heyman to do the same things because they're not a charity. You want a charity? Go to church. That's it, period. And so Tank is in a position of power. His resume is aging like fine Italian wine. And with that, I'm out. Thank you.
All right, brother, get back, man. Alicia Craig said, a lot of people say Shakur is the best out of all the lightweights. I think his defense is the best, but he always gives a snooze fest. Hey, man, there you go. I mean, I can't argue with that, Alicia Craig. I can't. Because his fights are, they're not the best. I mean, as far as if you're looking for excitement. But excitement can be made if they match them with fighters that make the fight exciting. You know what I mean? But again, Shakur can't go fighting like Devin Haney did. Devin Haney didn't have an excuse to run around like that on Jose Ramirez because his hand wasn't hurt. You know what I mean? Big Dog Willie said, take notes, hating at his best, history being made. Yeah, it is. History is being made. Because, dog, I drown out most of that stuff. I'm a Shakur fan, and I'm telling you, man, I close my ears to it. Because I know Phoenix the Assassin doesn't like Shakur. But again, hey, Fanon, have you heard of the no running move? Thoughts? No, I have not heard of the no running move. What is the no running move? What is that? If it means that you have to engage with somebody in order to fight, in order to win a round, you have to show effective aggression, clean and effective punching. No, I haven't heard of that. Let me look at it. The no running move rule in boxing. No, I haven't. Hold on, let me see. In boxing, there isn't a specific no running rule, but a boxing can be penalized for excessive avoidance or lack of engagement. If a boxer consistently avoids engaging their opponent by simply ducking, dodging, and moving around the ring without throwing punching, the referee may issue warnings, eventually stopping the fight. Oh, what do I think about that? I love it. Absolutely. I think that should definitely be implemented. Like, look, bro, you're scooting around too much, bro. You got to fight. I agree with that. A dumb rule. I think a dumb rule. Man, I'll take that shit. Oh, no running rule. Turkey trying to make trying to make it official. Well, here's the problem with that. I think if there's excessive running, sure, you should be able to, somebody should say something about it. But I wouldn't trust it with Turkey. Because Turkey, oh man, he did not come up with that shit. That's something that I came up with that somebody else puts a how to fix boxing's running rule explained. That Dan Canobio did a video on that yesterday. Spill Dog, new running rule in boxing couldn't have come at a better time. Somebody else is pushing for it. Rebel Life is pushing for it. Man, you can tell all the sellout fucking channels right here. The no running rule. Oh yeah, so fuck that rule. Fuck that rule. Fuck that rule. That's what I say. Fuck that rule. Yeah, how you gonna fuck that rule. Fuck that rule. Hell no. Hey, breaking news. Trump in Saudi Arabia right now. That's what's up. Yeah, seriously though, fuck that rule. Because what are you gonna do? You're gonna tell somebody that's up on the cards, they're up 10 rounds, they're up 6 rounds to nothing. Hey, stand still. Stand still. No, bro. No. You're gonna overregulate shit. Hold on a second. Hell no. Martin, you was fine with the rule. No, it's not a rule. That shit is not an official rule. Yeah, I'm okay with warning it, but fuck that rule. Hell no. Because the turkey's asking for it. Fuck that. Issue a warning for how do you determine what excessive rules running is? I'm okay with it if it's a rule of thumb. Yeah, I'm okay with it. But if it's some rule, some hard and fast rule you're going to try to get, what are you going to try to do? Get somebody warned? He did not throw enough rules. There you go. Hold on a second. Fanon can see how and who it will be. And yeah, exactly. Fuck that. Now that I know that it's them, no way. Because I know what they're trying to do. Nobody's going to fight for you, Turkey, so you want a rule to make them fight harder. Fuck out of here, nigga. It's already at the refs. Oh, no. You have to fight more. That's too much moving. Get the fuck out of here, bro. Exactly, bro. Get out of here. There you go, 2 Cent. 2 Cent, what up?
What's going on, Fanon? What up, chat?
I'm good. I'm chilling, man. Rick Tim said excessive avoidance should be the same as excessive clinching. Yeah, exactly. I agree.
What up, y'all? Hey, y'all make sure y'all go sub to the channel. I just came up here real quick. I ain't really got much to say, but I think it's crazy how people champion for their own freedoms to be taken away, right? You got people saying, "Oh, we need an excessive no running rule." Now, I don't like the running around. I don't want to see that in a fight. However, if a fighter does decide to do that, there are consequences for them fighting like that. We don't need to make a rule to make them do that. And it's like all of these rules y'all want to implement, y'all only going to end up with one style of fighter. TKO is going to have one style of fighting in their league if they keep trying to implement all of these rules to make people, quote unquote, fight how they want them to fight.
That's fine. Let them do it. I'm telling you, let them do it. Let somebody fuck around and get killed because they have to take punishment and they have to stay in there longer than they think it's right to stay in. Let somebody fucking get hurt because you're trying to make it a dog fight by putting it in the rules that you can choose through the referee when to penalize these people and put them in danger of losing a fight, even though it could be absolutely one-sided going in. Nah, bro, that allows you to selectively make somebody pick up the fight in the middle of a fight. I don't like that shit. I don't like it in the hands of them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't like it in the hands of those people.
I mean, it's kind of like a fine line. You got people that may have to use that as a strategy because they got injured and like you just never know. But what do you think about? I've tried to bring some intelligence and common sense to the TO topic, and I got called a coon and I'm defending TO and all this crap. But what do you think about the WBO saying that they're not going to do anything to TO? They feel like they heard the word liquor.
Well, you know, what do you expect? They heard the word liquor, they ducked out on it. So, you know, that's what they think of that issue. As far as the WBA, you know, or the WBO.
And that's what I was saying. That's the point that I was making is that, you know, people want to be outraged, so outraged about the things people say. But when it's real racism and real action that needs to be taken, nobody wants to do nothing. So you got the WBO that says they're not going to do nothing. They're not going to penalize TO. So if you're so outraged about it, what are y'all going to do? Are y'all going to write letters to the WBO? Are y'all going to boycott the fighters with WBO belts? Are y'all going to boycott TO fights? Are y'all going to boycott the promotional company that's supporting TO? Are y'all going to boycott all TO fights? Are y'all going to boycott black fighters that fight TO? Like, what are y'all going to do now since y'all were so outraged and y'all see the WBO is not going to do nothing? Or y'all just going to sit on the internet and cry and make videos?
Sit and cry and make videos.
And that's why I called it fake outrage. Because when it's really time to do something about real racism, the WBO president, who is a person of power, not TO ain't in no position of power. He cannot stop black people from advancing or doing anything. All he can do is make racial comments, which is not racism, it's bigotry. There's a difference. And that's what I'm trying to get people to understand. So now that this has went all the way up to the WBO, what action are you going to take? What's the move? What's the move, y'all?
Hey, no move. Yep.
Exactly. But that was the only thing I wanted to just come up here
Thank you.
and be like, and what else was you speaking about?
Oh, I was tripping on the fact that the PBC put that Oscar put this out. Let me show you. Goldenboy plus Premier Boxing ready to make history with a handshake came out from Oscar De La Hoya earlier this morning.
I mean, I think that's crazy. Like everything is full circle. Everything is full circle. Did they not know Turkey was going to be temporary? Like, I'm questioning, how could we have seen this and they didn't? Like, did they know Turkey was going to be temporary? They was like, we're just going to take advantage while he here. Did they not know? Did they know they was going to end up working with Al? Like, I'm just curious what the process or thought process is, because
the money.
You never would have thought Bob and Oscar is just going to be teaming up.
Yeah, they got to watch out because this dude is trying to run him out of business, and he said he was trying to run him out of business, and they're not going to take his word that he's not. He's not going to take him at his word that they're not going to try to run him out of business. They're going to try to run these guys out of business. So they have to get off that. They don't have ESPN. They've got to get off of DAZN, and they've got to go over to Amazon. And the PBC has the biggest platform, and they have a platform where they work with different promoters. It only makes sense for them to put on fights and have their fighters have that platform available for them, even if it's on an undercard to a PBC fighter, or if it is them putting on their own fight cards with PBC fighters on it. It's a two-way partnership that allows these guys to continue to do work, even though Turkey Al-Sheikh is trying to put them out of business. It's just very obvious. But once again, these guys, but yeah, anyway, that's it.
What about, what do you think about, what I was about to say? Damn, I can't even remember. It slipped my mind.
Take your time.
What do you think about Shakur with the whole, Tank want to fight me, he got to get on board? Oh, this is what I want to ask you. What do you think about Dana White promoting the Canelo Crawford fight?
And saying that he hates it in Allegiant Stadium? Look, I don't think Dana White promoting that fight is going to help sell that shit at all.
At all, right? Like, why do people...
I don't know what Dana White's going to do about it, except for promote it during UFC events. But, okay, UFC events are also pay-per-view. So you're going to have... That's Dana White putting on an additional pay-per-view to the people that he's dealing with. I don't... Like, that's kind of like, to me, if I put out 5 videos in a day, or put it this way, when I do 3 videos in a day, I get the same number of views that if I do 2. It's just certain people watch the first, then they don't watch the second, or they don't watch the third. So you just know there's a finite number of people that Dana White can sell his product to. So yes, it does open up a direct marketing mechanism for you for UFC fans, but we'll see how many of those UFC fans you can convert. Because I suspect that most of those UFC fans that are willing to buy Canelo were already buying Canelo. So right. I don't see what he's really going to bring to the table in that.
And I've also heard Ellerby mention, it's a formula to promoting black fighters. And I just kind of feel like they got the energy of like, oh, it's a black fighter, it's a Mexican fighter, it's going to do big numbers. When it's more, I don't know if Turkey haven't proved to y'all, it's more than just putting names on a card. Like, he's already proved that it's more than just putting names on a card, and it's more than just telling people this is the fight of the century. It's way more that has to go into it than that. And I just don't see Canelo and Crawford doing big numbers, especially with Dana White. And why is the fight in a stadium? What makes y'all think the fight is going to be in the stadium? And I'm curious how Canelo not fighting in the U.S. for Cinco de Mayo has affected his fan base.
Man, I don't know why in the world these dudes are doing that shit in a stadium. I have no idea why they're doing that shit in the stadium. You're going to have to give away a bunch of those tickets. And especially if the stadium the very next day has the UNLV game or has the UNLV game, I mean, the hotels are going to be tough to get. I mean, it's just, I
And on a
think,
Friday.
yeah, and it's going to be exactly on a Friday. Come on, man. That's some bullshit. Like, people got shit to do on Friday. So I don't know how that's going to decrease the amount of people that pay-per-view. A lot of people are getting off work on Friday and they will travel and go places. They may be able to do it on Saturday because most people are doing something on Saturday. So you don't do it in the afternoon. But anyway, hey, just so you know, before you head out, I put the link to your channel and I pinned it to the top. So I'm going to remind people to go subscribe to you a few more times before I get off.
Appreciate it.
All right, Tucson. Thank you so much. Holla
One
back.
more thing, my last question about Shakur. I know you be
Yes.
wondering why folks be so hard on Shakur, but this
I don't
is
wonder. I know why they be hard on
this
Shakur.
is why you up there talking about Tank got to get on board and come with Turkey to fight you. Like, I don't understand why even Shakur would fix his mouth to say that. Why would you want Turkey to promote your biggest fight of your career? Are you just worried about getting the guarantee? Because it's like you want Tank to come fight with Turkey so you can get overpaid? Because that's kind of like what I'm getting from it.
Well, let me tell you what I got from it. I got that Turkey Al-Sheik's guy, Aki Reyes, was sitting right there. And that whole thing on that was a repair thing for that situation that took place because Aki Reyes was there representing the zone. So, he's saying you need to come on over here. That's because he's with a guy from the zone. That's why I think he said that like that. But, everything's open to interpretation. But thank you, 2 Cent. Appreciate you so much.
Peace out.
Now. Peace. Yeah, that's what I think that is. I don't, when somebody has somebody sitting next to him, I'm like, okay, so you're here with that guy. Because there was no other reason for Aki Reyes to be there other than he was representing the zone. So he gave the position of Eddie Hearn. He gave the position of the zone. So, of course, if they're talking about another fight, he's going to say, come on over here and work with us. Who? Me and Aki Reyes. Aki Reyes is who? Eddie Hearn in the zone. But he said he could go anywhere he wanted to go. So it kind of made everything he said, not worthless. Now, I have to acknowledge as well that I tend to give Shakur Stevenson the benefit of the doubt. So if you choose not to give him the benefit of the doubt, then that's reasonable. I don't have a problem with that. Because you don't have to consistently give people the benefit of the doubt if you figure that they've done something where they've blown your trust. And I admittedly don't listen to enough of that stuff to say that he's really affected my trust in him. But other people see things differently, and I can respect that 100 miles an hour because it's rational. Because what you're saying is rational, 100% rational. What is not rational, though, is for y'all to keep running behind this Turkey Al-Sheikh guy. I'm telling you, it's not rational. But Oscar De La Hoya is behaving in a rational fashion. I am very happy with him, man. Queen Jab Boxing said, I was about to ask you, Fanon, why do you give him the benefit of the doubt? Because I advised Shakur Stevenson at a point in time that he needs to talk more. Jeep Red Boy in the building. Shout out to you, brother. I sent a note to Shakur one time when Shakur was being a lot less vocal. And I told Shakur, I was like, Shakur, you need to speak up for yourself because Bill Haney is not going to give you that fight. Trust me. He's just talking. He's not going to give you that fight until you stand up and defend yourself and you put him in a position of having to give you the fight. Trust me, you're not going to give him the fight. Now, he didn't respond to me directly to that, but I think that I noticed that he started behaving like that more. So I can't hold him responsible for something I thought he needed to do. I give him the benefit of the doubt because I like him. That's simple. And I've not caught him in such a big lie that it's like, but if something doesn't make sense, I've said it. As far as inside the ring, hey, he's not the most exciting fighter in the world. You know what I mean? God, let me tell you something. Why would you call anybody's bluff? That's silly. If you got the best cards in your hand, I don't have to call your bluff. I'm going to let you put more money on the table. I'm not calling your bluff. Go ahead and put that money there. No worries. I'm gonna raise your bluff. I'm gonna raise your bluff. I'm not calling it. I'm gonna raise it. Call and raise your bluff. As you can see, I'm really not a card player. Anyway, let's get back to this no knockdown. There's no running rule. Let me tell you, first of all, there's a bias in the name. No running. Okay? You're going to have to name it in a way where you cannot fucking pull that shit out of your ass because you think somebody ran. Okay? There's already rules in place for that shit. Okay? If you refuse to engage at all, but you can't, when does this start? When somebody just jabs you 2 times? You know? So yeah, there's already rules in place for that. However, let's talk about the rule. Yeah, no running. What does that mean? That's how do you define running? You have to define running. If you're throwing punches moving backwards, is that excessive running? Because you're throwing punches, but you are moving your feet at the same time you're throwing punches. You know what that's going to do? That's just going to increase the amount of pity pats that you get. You're going to get a guy throwing pity pat, I'm out. What are you going to say? Hey, you got to stay there. You threw 3 pity pat punches and then clinched, moved, and pushed him off. I mean, Nuke the Duke said Tank and Shakur can't go anywhere without somebody asking them when they're going to fight. Running equals refusal to engage. What does that mean? A refusal to engage. What do you mean? Refusal to engage. You're going to take out defense? Defense is refusal to engage. You don't have to engage anytime somebody wants to engage. What does that mean? Give me the rule. Write the rule down, and then I can say, okay, let's see how this rule can be applied. So I challenge you to write a rule. Not just try to deflect and put the blame on the fighters who won't fight for you. We're going to put a rule where these guys have to fight. What's the rule? Give me the rule. I want to read the rule because I can't say anything about a rule unless I know what the rule is. So if you give me the written rule, then I can tell you, okay, yeah, I support that. I don't believe it. How are you going to write that rule? Let me see the rule in the rule book. For real, you're going to have a lawyer write it. You're going to have a lawyer write it. So get the lawyer to write it and then put it out and what it is, and then I can tell you whether I like it or not. Beam Sator said, how about a not being able to cut off the ring rule? Exactly. How about you say an anti-Muhammad Ali rule? How about you say an anti-Sugar Ray Leonard rule? How about you say an anti-Pernell Whitaker rule? How about let's make a bum look better than he is rule? How about let's help bums out rule? You have to engage when a bum wants to engage with you. You have to give up your advantage to somebody that cannot cut off the ring. No, how about we don't do that? But you give me the rule first. Give me the rule first. I see that you went out, you got it. You're trying to spread the rule out there. You're trying to set the groundwork for the rule. So you can avoid the fact that nobody wanted to fight for Turkey Al-Sheikh. We have new rules. Guess what? The ABC says you can't implement certain rules, buddy. If you implement certain rules, it's not boxing. That's not boxing. If you have we have a special rule where guess what? Who's gonna want to fight for on a Turkey Al-Sheikh card if Turkey Al-Sheikh has that rule in place? 2 Cents said there is no incentive to do anything but win with Turkey. He is a lick. Yeah, got it. Yeah, he got licked. All right. He got scammed out his dough. Muhammad Ali moved around and clinched a lot, but he fought through combinations and always made a great fight. Exactly. But he's not throwing punches when this other guy's throwing punches. He's not engaging. You know what happens when a fighter doesn't engage? They stop the fight. If you stand there and you take a bunch of punches, that's not engaging, right? What do they do when you don't engage and somebody's throwing punches at you nonstop? And you're not defending yourself by slipping and countering. You know what they call that? They call that a stoppage. They stop the fight when somebody is not engaging. When they're no longer fighting, they call it a TKO. Last time I checked. So I do believe there's a rule in there. Great Ali, like for example, when Ali was beating up George Foreman. Let's talk about, hey, what up, Rick? Let's talk, for example, about Muhammad Ali when he wasn't engaging with George Foreman. And he was pulling his head in there. It's like, that's all you got, you bum. That's all you got, you bum. And he pushed him off, clock. Then let him come over there again. He's like, okay, catching all the shots, not engaging. Say, hey, you bum. This is the best you got. That's all you got. Boom. Pop, beat his ass up again. You know what I mean? Should they have stopped the fight? Bug Eyes. Bug Eyes the rule maker, bro. Bug Eyes the rule maker. Yeah. Fanon, what it do? What up, Love Down Gaither? Said, what it do? So Sugar Ray Leonard ran against Duran the second fight. I don't think so. F that rule. What happened to cutting off the ring? I don't like the rules, especially coming from Turkey. Exactly. Come from the butt off, the people's butt, Turkey butt off. Hey, implement that fight in a Gervonta Davis fight. So they want black fighters to give up their best advantage. Exactly. They want black fighters to give up their best advantage. That's how it's going to be used. And then they're going to have the no black fighting rule. Let's implement that too. No black fighter rule. No southpaw rule. No southpaw rule. No black fighter rule. Let's do that rule too. Since we're going to codify shit. Let's codify a no black fighter rule. They won't engage. Why? Black fighters don't want to let you get punched in the face. They won't let you punch them in the face. So let's do that too. Let's do that rule too. That'll solve the problem. No black fighter rule. They already trying to do that with Gervonta, and Gervonta is exciting, you know? Ali said Foreman hit him so hard he thought he knocked something loose. Yeah, he did, and then he knocked his ass out. Let me see. You Houston bums. Hold on, let me see. Oh, hold on. I got something for you. Hold on 1 second, George Foreman fans. Hey, Rick, bro, I will donate this to Rick Timms. See that, Rick Timms? Rick, that is a signature of Joe Frazier in gold. This is a signature of Muhammad Ali signed in gold. And this is George Foreman signed in gold. You know what that means? This is an autograph of all three of those champions. And guess who is the only person to beat everybody in this picture? The only person to win to win all of the fights was this guy right here. Him, Muhammad Ali. Because Muhammad Ali knocked him out, and Muhammad Ali beat him twice. He beat Ali once, but got knocked out by him. He knocked him out, but got knocked out by him. You know how that works? Now, Rick, that picture can be yours if you just come on here and admit that Muhammad Ali was the better fighter than George Foreman, and George Foreman could have never won. If, Rick, you are willing to come up here and tell that truth, I will give you that picture the next time I see you. Hey, man. Hey, man. How many times you got to fight a guy? How many times you got to fight the same guy, Rick? Was Larry Holmes, he beat the fight out of George Foreman. He beat the fight out of George Foreman, bro. He sent him to church. He whooped him so bad. George Foreman would have never been as good as George Foreman wound up being if he had not taken that ass whooping from Muhammad Ali. Yeah, and it sat in his craw to the day he died. Yeah, it did. Oh, the offer's off the table. For 9, most of these fighters know how to cut off the ring, but they don't want to walk into something. So who's fighting scared? Exactly. They don't want to walk into those punches. Rick, you know that picture's worth something, Rick. You know that picture's worth something, bro. The tears of George Foreman fans. I've been sipping on the tears of George Foreman fans ever since I was a little boy. Did I ever tell you that Muhammad Ali was like a daddy to me when I was a little kid? For real. Like, I used to worship him like he was my father. Loved him. I used to look like him when I was a little kid. I used to shadow box like him when I was a little kid. I used to try to move around. You know what I mean? I love that man. And one of the reasons it allowed me to love that man like a father was that he whooped George Foreman's ass. Woo, he whooped George Foreman's ass, dog. He whooped George Foreman's ass. I saw the tape. Then they made a movie about that ass whooping. Oh, Lord. Do you know how much money Ali made for that ass whooping? He had a major motion picture made about that ass whooping, bro. And how, he made so many people mad with that ass whooping. Everybody was, Ali's going to get killed. Then Ali whooped his ass. Ooh, he whooped that nigga. He whooped that nigga ass, boy. Woo, that was nice, bro. That was nice, bro. Woo. Oh, no, I think it was all rumble in the jungle. It's going to be a rumble in the jungle. Man, your boy got his ass whooped. One of the greatest sports moments of my life. And I was only 4 years old. I had just turned 4 years old, bro. When Ali put that ass whooping on that boy. Oh, man, what a glorious ass whooping that was. I wasn't alive to see that glorious ass whooping he put on Sonny Liston. But anyway, I ain't like, sorry ass Rollo. Rollo, I saw you dip into the channel the other day, so I know you're breathing. Why don't you go ahead and click the link, Rollo? Why don't you tell me how great Devin Haney is, Rollo? Where you at, Rollo? Don't think I didn't see you clicking the link and click off just to check if you were blocked. Bro, you ain't blocked. I just stopped putting it on Twitter so you can stop trying to harass me over there on Twitter. Okay? So you're free to come on up here and catch some of these, son. You're willing to come on up and catch some of these, son. Yo, Rollo back. He be on my lives. Yeah, I know he back. I know Rollo's back. Rollo. Devin Haney. Anyway, back onto this bullshit rule you guys are telling me about. Hell no. More rules create more problems. Less rules, less problems. Okay? If the guy's not fighting and it's clearly not a strategy that he's trying to employ to win the fight by tiring the guy out or something like that, you don't have to stand there in the first, second round and have somebody throwing bombs at you. You don't have to do that. Okay? Exactly. Pissy mattress. Pissy match. Hell yeah, pissy mattress Rollo. Shout out to pissy mattress Rollo. I want to know if Rollo got a personal invite to that boring ass fight Devin put on. That's what I want to know. Hell yeah. Nah, hell no. Screw the. That's G-Man is why I have to do this. Phoenix the Assassin. What up, Phoenix?
Oh, we talk about running.
We talking about what?
Running around the ring.
Yeah. What's your thoughts on that rule, man? Why don't you break that down for me, man?
I would say that the best way to do it would be, okay, if you spend more than half the round not engaging, treat it like that excessive clinching. I mean, this past weekend had the only weekend we've seen it, like, shoot, during Canelo's fight, I had to go to the corner and tell him to start fighting. That had that happen. Who was it? With Eubanks Sr. One of his fights. They had that happen. And the referee had to tell them, hey, y'all spending too much time not fighting in the fight. Y'all got to actually fight. That's the way I look at it, because, like, hearing some of these fighters talk about it, man, you can tell a lot of them don't really know their boxing history. I remember the first day the tweets about that was coming out. I remember who was it? Oh yeah, Shakur. It was Shakur who came out and said, hey, what about Leonard and Duran during the Nomos fight? Like, they don't realize that even though that fight was stopped, they had more punches thrown in that fight at the time it was stopped than the full 12 rounds that Ramirez and Haney had. And then people even try to compare it to Ryan Garcia's fight with who was it, Duarte, where Ryan Garcia landed 70 punches, Duarte landed 69. And that fight was stopped in the middle of round 8. And both of them have thrown, I think, almost 600 punches at that time. I think Ryan had thrown about 300, and Duarte had thrown about 280 something at the time that fight was stopped in round 8. So that's the thing. Like, people is really comparing Devin Haney's fight to other fights that were stopped earlier that had more punches thrown despite that. And that's the thing that's confusing to me. Like, look at Mayweather against Baldomir. Mayweather landed 199 punches in that fight. And there was people who was really comparing that, saying, oh, that was just an off night for Floyd, Shakur Stevenson did the same thing against Edwin De Los Santos. Nah, he did not. True, Shakur even retweeted that his fight with De Los Santos was the same as Mayweather and Baldomir. How you compare a fight where somebody landed 200 punches to a fight where barely 400 was thrown? Shit don't add up. That's why I say, like, hey, also to answer Fahim's question, he kind of answered it himself, but he said, oh, most fighters know how to cut off the ring. They just don't want to walk into something. My counter was, how many people you think afraid of walking into a punch from Devin and Shakur? But then he asked after that, okay, how come they're not just walking them down? Well, it goes back to, are they cutting off the ring? Because you said most fighters know how to. So if most fighters know how to cut off the ring, they'd be walking them down and cutting the ring off. So, it's one of those things where, like, yeah, you got to pay attention. Most fighters do not know how. Otherwise, all these fighters wouldn't be able to go so many fights without having to worry about getting caught on the ropes or in the corner. That's a skill that not everyone has. That's why some of these guys, like to go ahead and fight that quote unquote slow, flat-footed Mexican fighters, that they like to accuse Tank of fighting. But we see what he did with Frank Martin, and we see how within 1 minute, Josh Padley circled the ring 3 times, and Shakur was just sitting there spinning like a fucking dreidel. Couldn't cut the ring off on that. Most fighters do not know how to cut off the ring. They do not. So we got to stop acting like it. Otherwise, they wouldn't be talking about a no running rule. They'd be saying, maybe y'all need to stop cutting off the ring so people stop taking so much punishment and getting all these brain injuries. Stop cutting off the ring so much and stop hitting them.
Hey man, I can tell you what that ring is going to help for. Why people wouldn't walk into Devin. Because if Devin is fighting at 135 and puts on an extra 25 pounds, and you got to walk straight into a guy that is doing that, and you're not allowed to move, you got to continuously let this dude lay on you and punch on you, and he's that much bigger than you are in the ring, then yeah, that no contact, no running rule can absolutely help somebody. Especially, again, somebody that is weight draining themselves and outweighing the guy that they're fighting by 25 pounds. So,
I would say since he ain't got his man strength, that's a non-issue.
Yeah, for him, it's a non-issue. But say for Keyshawn, if somebody moves up and fights Keyshawn, that becomes a big problem for somebody fighting Keyshawn. I'll tell you, it becomes a huge problem for Hamad Shiraz. Anybody fighting him, because damn well his ass is way bigger than that in there. What's up, Deem? I'll let y'all cook for a second. Are you guys good for a minute? Or you, Deem?
Yeah, we can do that. I got about 15 minutes.
I'm chilling, Deem. How you feeling, brother?
Man, I'm good. I wanted to just touch on this non-boxing.
You got a second?
Yeah, I got a second. Yep.
All right, I'm gonna let y'all cook.
All right. Now I just wanted to touch on this boxing issue. It's already supposed to be a rule. It's because these corrupted ass judges ain't doing their job. If you fighting Canelo, this William Skull fight is prime example. When Jermaine Ortiz was fighting Tio, they gifted Tio to win. Canelo Alvarez got the win. It's already a rule. It's just when the runaround fighter is the A-side fighter, they act like the rule don't exist. That's it. And to be real, we still got to give those flat-footed Mexicans and all of them a bunch of criticism because they should be able to cut off the goddamn ring. Absolutely. But it doesn't change the fact that this is already supposed to be a rule. So this is let me know that people don't know nothing about boxing. If you go
the other thing is, go ahead. I was going to say the other thing about that is with the people not engaging, and what happened with Jermaine Ortiz and Tio or Canelo and Skull. Like the thing is, like when the judges is looking at it, like for me personally, I just think about it like this: like judges know what to look for, so they're going to score accordingly because they got that 4 criteria, and one of them is defense. So at the same time, you have to wonder, like, okay, if you're just staying so far away that no punches are thrown, then what are you defending against? You're not defending from no punches. It's kind of like in basketball. If you got that one dude, like that one dude in the pickup game who just gonna stand there on the other side of the court with his hands on his hips and wait for you to throw that Hail Mary to him, but he don't play no defense.
Yeah, we call them corner guys.
Yeah, so that's the thing. Like, okay, are we gonna say a fighter like that is showing, or a basketball player like that is showing great defense? So like, how are we gonna say that in boxing?
But Phoenix, the thing that make that point even more is you can be defensive, that's no problem, but that's one criteria of the 4, though. Yeah. My problem, B Phoenix, is that's all they harp on. That's not all boxing is being defensive.
Yep. It's both.
So my thing is, Phoenix, the judges pick and choose when they want to look at it that way. If the A-side fighter is the pressure fighter and the aggressor, they're going to award it to them, because this is how I know people don't watch boxing. How you know it's already a rule, y'all. How many times have you heard this in a boxing match, Phoenix? Oh, the round is close, but I think they're going to give it to the aggressor. What do you think that means?
It means a lot, because that's the thing where, for me, because I don't look at it as just being aggressive, like, because it says effective aggression, not just being aggressive. I also said clean, effective punching, not landing more punches than your opponent. clean, effective punching. And they got defense, they got ring generalship. So for me, whenever I'm looking at a fight, it's like, okay, you got somebody who land, 5 jabs. But you got a fighter who land, 2 big haymakers, one to the head, one to the body. Right? Okay, who you gonna give the fight? Who you gonna give that round to? No, it comes down to more than just like, okay, you're looking at who's landing more punches, but it's like, okay, we're gonna say the 5 jabs equate to them 2 power punches. Then you got to look at the rest of the fight. How was the thing set up? Who's doing more? Who's actually being effective with what they're doing? Who looks like they in control of the fight? I know sometimes some commentators say, "Hey, when you are looking at a round, who would you rather be after that round?" That's a good way for them to go ahead and say, "Oh, okay, that I would rather be this guy because this is what happened in the round." But sometimes it ain't really that simple because you got biases and people ain't willing to be objective about it. I mean, like
Phoenix, when they say they know boxing, and I ask people when they talk about defense, and then I want everybody in the comments to answer this question: what is the best defense? I want to see how much y'all really know about boxing, since y'all be in here, people be talking crazy about how much they know boxing. What is the best defensive thing you can do? I just want to see people answers. I'm about to look in the comments because I just want to see people answers. What is the best defensive thing you can do? Somebody answer me. Somebody say avoiding the punch. Yeah, that's partially of it. What's the best defensive thing you can do in fighting? Because
have a good offense.
Because I want to show people that they don't know what they're actually taught. Somebody said not be there. No. The best thing you can do in fighting and defensively in boxing is what Gervonta Davis did to Rolly Romero. It's called slip, dip, counter. Slip, dip, counter. That's actually the most effective and best thing you can do in boxing. We got a word for it, y'all. It's called counter punching. You can slip a punch, and that's just part of it. That was good defense. You slipped that punch. But what makes it better defense is when you slip the punch and then you come back with something like prime Floyd Mayweather Jr. That's the best defense you can do.
I had a different answer for mine.
Miss me with all that throwing 5 punches or whatever. If you want to throw a little bit of punches in a round and use your defense, Dean don't got no problem with it. Just make sure when you're doing it, it's clean, effective, and you're actually creating some type of damage on your opponent. But if you just jabbing, you slipping your jab, you slip your jab, it hit his glove, you slip, that's cool. But that's not going to be looked at as the same way as somebody that is an actual counterpuncher, like a guy named Terrence Crawford. It's what separates a Terrence Crawford from guys who are not like Terrence Crawford or as effective at counterpunching the way he is. So when people be talking about y'all know boxing and y'all, oh, I'm cool with the defense, that is okay. But that's only part of defense. Defense has to turn into offense. It's like that in every sport, Fanon. In football, the best thing you can do is get an interception, a fumble recovery. But you know what's even better than that, Fanon? Taking it back and scoring. Scoring on defense is actually the best thing you can do. In basketball, you get a steal. That's good. But after you get the steal, if you could get on the fast break and lay it up, that's actually the best defense you can do. It's called defense turning into offense. When you use your defense, it is supposed to turn into offense. And I'll just land there because I want to ask Fanon something else that's a little more controversial.
Go ahead, man.
Okay,
Can I say
with that one too?
I'd like to say something before you ask that question.
Yes, sir.
It's a perfect segue. Troy, I'm in Houston and no inside shit. Believe me, George wanted that rematch badly, and Ali kept lollygagging and blowing him off, saying give it to him, yet reneged. And then Martin Blackwell responds, I need to give a Fanon International's response. It was, Rick, sit on that L. You know what I'm talking about? Sit on that L, Rick. Sit on that L. It's been over 40 years, bro. It's been like 45 years. Or what is it, 46 years? Is it 46 years? Let's see. 1974 was the date of that ass whooping. Right? So that means it was 26. What's 20? It's over 50 years since that ass whooping, man. It's 51 years since that ass got whooped, or 52 years since that ass got whooped. Come on, man. It's time to sit on that L. Go ahead. So what's your question, Dean?
Now for 9. Now, you know your guy Brian Norman Duck officially admitted that that he ducked Jerron Ennis. And everybody think I'm going off of what he recently said about, Eddie and them sent them an offer. They confirmed that Eddie sent them yet another offer for 9, but they won't wait till after they fight in the Japanese boy to even determine any offers. But you know what's so funny about that for 9? Everybody who watch my channel, please say it with me. I let people talk that like to talk because you get to see how full of shit that they are. Brian Norman Jr. Sr. was talking to one of them Puerto Rican boys on Mill City Boxing right before this came out that Jerron Ennis sent him another offer. And he told the Puerto Rican boy for 9, he said, I know how Top Rank works. You chose that fight. Because he was trying to downplay the boy's resume, saying that the boy chose a lesser opponent, and how he knows that because he knows how Top Rank does business. That's mighty funny to me. So that means Brian Norman Sr. that you chose to not fight Jerron Ennis. Because that's how Top Rank works, that you was offered multiple fights. You had other options besides Jerron Ennis, and you chose to not fight that man. What is your opinion on that, Fanon?
Well, I'm sorry. I got to tell you honestly, man. Rick Tim's blasphemy has me focused because he says, Fanon, 51 years don't change the fact that Ali ducked. The amount of time don't make it go away. It's true forever, sir. And my response was, you can't duck a man that you slept. He slept him. Snooze. And then a man retired before Ali retired. Ali didn't retire until 1978. Then he beat his ass up in 1974. I think when did he retire? When did George Foreman retire? Like 2 years later after he lost? I mean, I'm sorry, bro. You know what I'm saying? That ass whooping stings. I know it does. But, that's all they just sleep on that L, nigga.
I watched that fight multiple times. Like, Ali didn't look like he was in trouble at all. At all. Like the way that he set the knockout up off the ropes, how he spun on him, man.
And y'all, it's funny because the movie made the fight look like Ali was getting beat up worse than he was. But if you watch the actual fight, yeah, he did the rope-a-dope, but that was kind of, he picked and chose when he did that. How the movie tried to depict it, like Ali just did that the whole fight and just got Foreman tired. That's not what happened, actually.
Hell no.
Not at all. Not at all.
He beat his ass up with straight right hands, grabbed him, mugged him, moved him, absorbed his punches, beat his ass up some more, and eventually stopped him. Okay, picked that up on his ass. When was it? The 8th round?
Fanon, he made him retire, Fanon. He was so hurt, Fanon, he retired for 10 years.
Beat his ass to Jesus is what he did.
That's what he did.
Beat his ass to Jesus. That's what he did.
And rest of George Foreman one of the greats. But the truth is the truth is the truth. Like, so Fahim says, what exactly about that fight even warrants a rematch? Nothing. That ass whooping was an ass whooping. That was a slaughter, nigga. That was a slaughter. Didn't George Foreman get to fight Frazier after Ali whooped Foreman, I'm pretty sure. But anyway, Rick Tim will come up here, man, and cry. He'll cry. Hey, Fanon, I wanted to ask you in Phoenix this too. Guys on Twitter been trolling me, Fanon, and they've been saying, Dean, y'all Tank fans who be going around saying that Gervonta don't be around his fight weight. Gervonta be about 150 something. And then I asked all of these Shakur, because it was Shakur fans saying it. And I asked them this one question. I said, oh, really? Because I know people that actually know Gervonta Davis in real life and Coach Calvin, but that's another thing. Because I know that that's a lie. Because if a 5'4" person was close to 160, trust me, they would look heavier than Gervonta Davis does. But whatever. So then I asked him for I said, so then what is Shakur Stevenson, who is 3 inches, 4 inches taller and heavier than Gervonta Davis? What weight does he walk around at? Because if you're trying to tell me Gervonta, if you want to try to tell me Gervonta is 155 walking around, then Shakur got to be at least 170. At least. Fighting at 135.
Like that.
Yep.
So tread lightly, Shakur fans. Are you're admitting that he's a weight bully? Because Shakur said that Gervonta is way too small. That's what Shakur said. So if Tank
Everybody been
is walking
saying
around this heavy fighter like y'all trying to tell me he is, then what is Shakur walking around at when he's not fighting? Is a great question. I would just want one of these Shakur Stevenson fans, even though I love Shakur Stevenson, but they just as bad as Devin fans, Fanon. And this is what turned me off for even being in that clique. They were so mad at Devin, and then they turned around and did everything Devin Haney fans do. So if Tank is lying about him being close to 135 on fight night and his walk around weight, then please tell me what a guy that's 3-4 inches taller that said that man is too small, what weight does he walk around at? And do you think a guy walking around at 170 should be fighting at 135? It's a great question. I just want somebody to answer.
Ain't no fucking way he's walking around at 175. Ain't no fucking way.
And one thing I'll say, because I'm about to hop off, man. Like, shoot, y'all remember what y'all access was it? Because people are still thinking about Tank back in the day, like when he fought, who was it? Fonseca. Back in like his 20-something fight or whatever, when he wasn't taking his weight seriously, you see him blow up and everything. They looking back then, but they're not looking at Tank right now for like the past 4 years since he fought Gamboa. They're not looking at, or 5 years since Gamboa in 2019. They're not looking at that. Remember All Access? He had on that big ass coat, the big ass baggy ass cargo shorts and everything. I don't know how many shirts he had on. He got up on that scale at the airport, and it came in at like 152. So like with clothes on, he was at 152. We take all that off, he probably 145 at max.
Phoenix,
so come on,
and that's
now.
what I told him, Phoenix. But I actually got this from word of mouth and people who grew up with Gervonta Davis, because they actually was trained by Coach Calvin and all them. And they told me they size, and they said, Dame, is no way that he's walking around close to 160. No way.
Exactly.
I don't think people realize how small Tank is. Gervonta Davis is the same height as my daughter. He is not a big man.
Dude, bro.
Like, I don't think, if you saw him in real life, he is much smaller than you think he is in real life.
Much smaller.
Like, it'd just be
much smaller.
It just be the narratives that be pissing me off. It's like, why do that? Because what started it is Stephen Fulton. I want you to know what started it to give you context. Stephen Fulton posted a picture of him on his scale the same way Gervonta Davis did a few months before the fight, like showing he was close to his fight weight and all of that. And Stephen Fulton was about Stephen Fulton was like 165
Yeah, I saw that. She was like, damn. Yeah,
like, I was like, God damn. Like, and they was like, and then as soon as I go in the comments, the first person they start talking about, I said, what does this man have to do with another man walking around at 160 something that's fighting at 126? Like, and so that's how it got started and all that. But it's just the narratives that be going around. And I don't think I ever seen a fighter, probably since Floyd, that got this much like unwarranted criticism. But Gervonta Davis don't get the same defense that Floyd Mayweather got though either. See, Floyd got a lot of hate, but Floyd had a lot of people backing him as well. Gervonta Davis, he got the fans and the people that support him. That's not like the casuals and people like that. That's not going to interact on Twitter and with hardcore boxing fans. But as far as hardcore boxing fans, Gervonta Davis is definitely public enemy number one, and it shows over and over and over again. So I was just thinking about that because I'm like, if he 5'4" walking around at 155, 160, then what the hell is Shakur Stevenson walking around at?
Exactly. What the hell is Devin walking around doing?
Devin, the Lord have mercy.
Exactly.
But nah,
All right,
Devin
bro, let me
gotta
get
be
back with you,
175.
man. Let me get back. Rick is right behind you, brother. So let
Oh
me
yeah,
get back
go
with
ahead.
you.
Y'all about to cook. All right, I'm about to laugh.
All right, brother. I'll get back with you, man. Peace. Rick, the blasphemy continues, huh? Go ahead, man. Go ahead, man. Go ahead.
Hey man, I don't even know why we even going through this again, because I already had you to verbally admit that Ali ducked that rematch. I'm not even here to discuss the ass whooping. The ass whooping is etched in stone. We already know that.
Yeah, definitely we know about that ass whooping. Yes, we
But
know
see,
about that ass whooping.
my point is, you know, when 32-year-old Ali ran into that 25-year-old young bull of a George Foreman that night in 74,
Yeah, he did.
he used his wits and outwitted that young bull. That
Hold
rope a
on.
dope. You know,
He didn't run
hey,
into him. He didn't run into him. He
hey,
ran over. He ran over him.
hey,
Go ahead and say when he ran over that young bull. When he
hey.
ran over that young bull.
Foreman was foolish. Ali outsmarted him. Ali is the man.
He didn't just outsmart him. He beat
However,
the man up. He beat the man up.
he beat him up. He beat him up. Yes, I give y'all that. He just wouldn't give it another try though.
He
knew
don't need
better.
what he needed to try for. He already knocked
He
his
knew
ass out.
better. No,
Do
he
better
knew
than
better
what?
because I'm finna tell you why. Because don't talk about it unless you're gonna be about it, Ali. You can't tell a man I'm gonna give you the rematch and don't do it and keep running, because that's what happened.
I'm sorry. Let me see something. Let me just check something. I don't want to misspeak. I don't want to misspeak on Big George. Let's just see something real quick.
All right, why you digging that up? Because I'm
Hold
telling you,
on,
man.
hold on. It's important for me to know this before I continue. So just give me 1 second.
All right.
There it is. 1977. 1977. He fought 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 more times until he lost to Jimmy Young and retired. I'm
In
pretty
Puerto
sure
Rico,
Ali.
yeah.
Let me see when Ali retired. Ooh, it was 1978. And by the way, he fought George Foreman after that fight. Ooh, he fought a lot. Webner, Lyle. He fought Foreman again. He fought Kenny Norton again. He fought Ernie Shavers. So, you know, I think he fought longer. He did fight longer and, you know, than your boy did. Seems like he retired first.
Man, you know, Foreman took that 10-year hiatus and came back, and you know,
Yeah, but he took that
the rest
hiatus
is history.
when Ali was still fighting. Did you think Ali should fight Foreman with Parkinson's? Is that what you're lobbying for?
Yeah, he could have fought him before that hiatus. That's the point.
He
He
could
wanted the
have.
rematch before he went on that hiatus. That was a big part of his
I mean, I
depression,
don't know what
was
I can
not
say,
getting
bro.
that rematch. He
All I'm
wanted that
trying to say
rematch.
is, hey, man, sit on that L. He came back. He proved what a great fighter he was. Ali helped his legacy by whooping his ass, driving his ass into a deep depression, which Jesus helped lift him out of, that eventually brought him back to great wealth and glory. You know what I mean? It all ended well for Big George. You know what I mean? He's an icon. He made a lot of money. You know, he wasn't quite worth the money Ali was worth when he passed away. But, you know, because, you know, we got the numbers on Ali. Ali had a cool 80 mil. You know what I mean? So, but he owes a lot of that to George Foreman for that major movie they put on about that ass whooping. You know what I mean? Too bad that they couldn't have had 2-3 fights. You know what I mean? It sucks.
Hey, we only needed 2.
Yeah,
This
well,
one
it had to be
rematch, all it took, man.
there would have had to be, well, you would have got their ass whooped again. But after you got that ass whooped again, then it would have only been 2. You know what I'm saying? Like Floyd Patterson and Liston.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
If he would have beat him twice, yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean? And it went 3 because he had a split with Joe Frazier. You know what I mean? And he went 3 because he had a split with Norton. Unfortunately, Frazier beat him first. Norton beat him first. So, you know, he gave him the tie. He gave him that ass whooping. Well, he didn't give him an ass whooping, actually, not Norton. He never gave Norton an ass whooping, really. But he did give Frazier an ass whooping twice. So, you know, he gave that ass whooping to George Foreman right away. You know what I mean? Like, and he also gave a rematch to, I think he gave championship shots to Patterson, but gave Liston another chance to get that ass whooping, and he just took a dive. I don't know. Maybe he thought Foreman was going to take a dive.
Hey, man, stop. Hey, no way. Cause look, like I explained that Houston promotional event that Ali had, and George came and crashed it. I mean, George came in with his Fifth Ward goons, and they came in flipping up tables, throwing chairs, smashing cameras. Like, man, what's up with my rematch? And Ali, hold on, big fella, calm down, big fella. You gonna get your rematch, but let's keep it calm now. I mean, all of this is still audio recorded. All this still audio tape. It wasn't video, but you know the audio is still.
Let me get that audio tape, bro. Let me get that audio,
man. Yeah, I mean, you hear the record, you hear the glass breaking. George was pissed. George was MFing and everything in that audio. Like, MF, you keep lying to me, talking about you gonna give him a rematch, and now you're in my city. Hey, George wasn't having it. George shut that shit down that day. So Ali kept playing with him about the rematch, man. That's all I'm saying.
Hey, look, man, if George Foreman want to run around and act like a Fifth Ward thug, you know what I mean? And he gets there and he try to bump up on a nigga, you know what I mean? Hey, man, you shouldn't have done that to the king. You shouldn't have done it to the king. What can I say?
Man, you impersonating Bill Haney right now, man. Everything. Bill would be proud of you right now, dog.
Touche. What can I say, dog? You got me. You got me, and Fahim Sator got me. Look, man, it would have been nice to see that fight again, man. I'm sorry that he has to sit on that ass whooping. Let me apologize posthumously for Muhammad Ali and say I'm sorry that I had to get that man that ass whooping and I didn't have a chance to whoop his ass twice because I got sick. What you want a nigga to do? Go fight you when a man can have move? Come on, George. You got your ass whooped. 25-year-old young boy, young buck, talked all that shit, got his ass whooped. Is what happened, waving that flag around and shit, showing niggas up. You know what I mean? We know what he doing.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. We're not gonna talk about him waving that flag.
We don't want to talk about all that Tom Domery we got going on over there in Houston. We don't want to talk about that smiling ass grill sound act you put on either. We don't want to talk about that either.
Boy, you a motherfucker, boy.
Hell yeah.
Boy, you something else, man.
Ali could have had that shit, but he wouldn't smile wide enough for these niggas. That's what it was.
Yeah, that's Ali get major props for that. Yeah, he never bowed down, dog.
Yeah,
all right, man. Hey,
all right, man. Much love, brother.
All know. Hey, Ali whooped that ass, but Ali ducked that rematch.
Yeah, leave it at that, man. Whenever you're willing to admit that Ali is the greatest, and and that shit is George Foreman bullshit is bullshit. You know what I mean? As soon as when you're willing to throw that shit to the trash, bro, I got a signed one for you. I know that means something. You know
man, bye, man. I'm going,
you know what I mean?
dog.
As soon as you're ready to fess up, bro, I got it in gold. We got what you need. Yeah. All right, brother. I get back with you, man. Much love, man. Peace.
All right, dog.
All right, man. All right, y'all. Y'all have a wonderful, wonderful day, man. Much love to everybody in the chat, everybody in the super chat. Y'all have an absolutely fabulous day. We'll be back tomorrow. And with that, I'm out. Deuces.